Hey Nick,
Hey, friend.
how you doing?
I'm all right.
Did you hear about the bagel that was standing outside of its house crying?
No, but I get the impression you're going to tell me.
Yeah, it was really a tragic scene. Apparently, someone came and changed his locks.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't have it yet. We don't have it yet.
good morning. We don't have it yet. Hi, I'm Nick. That's Wyatt. We don't have it yet. We're here once again on a wonderful, what is it, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning that we're recording this?
It's a day.
Yep, and glad to be back with you. We're going to keep doing this as long as you guys will keep having us. And Wyatt, how you doing?
Pretty good, but I do have to say that we're probably going to keep doing this even if they don't have us anymore. Because
Also true. Also true.
I feel like this is just fun for us to do. If you guys want to listen, sweet. If not,
Yes.
yeah, this is fun for us.
Yeah, accountability buddy and catharsis all in one with the benefit of potential listeners.
Yeah, and maybe one of these days I might even listen to an episode.
There you go.
So, what have you been up to?
Well, I cheated on you last night.
Whoa, I need to hear more about this.
Don't act like you don't know what happened because you were supposed to be there. I filled in on, I think, a bonus episode of Extra Napkins, which we were on a few weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago.
While Mr. John is tending to his kitty who's in ill health, so we all wish her the best. But yeah, had some fun chitty chatting there with Ian. He is a broadcast professional, and we are not.
Oh, come on! I mean, we're yeah. No, you're right. Ian's pretty great at doing this stuff. I mean, he's been doing it for well over a decade at this point. So
yeah.
So, what'd you guys talk about? We don't have to go really into it because I don't want you to give away their whole podcast. But what was it about?
Food. I think there was food involved, and yeah, there was food. You'll have to tune in and see. No, we were talking about the new King of the Hill because it was a bonus episode. They generally do, for those who are not familiar with Extra Napkins, they generally do bonus episodes where they review a movie or a TV show as suggested by the listening audience, I believe. That's correct. And the topic of this one was the new King of the Hill series, which I know you and I have both watched and enjoyed.
Yeah, I don't think we need to go into a gigantic discussion of it, but
yeah, that's been
I would like to say I know, pulling the curtain back. Obviously, I did know what the podcast was about last night.
Yeah.
But I know I said there was one thing that I didn't really super care for, but I didn't want to taint, what you were saying before you went on the podcast. Yeah. And I'm curious. So, I'm sure you've noticed the one thing that really gets me with that season, and I've already watched it twice, I think, at this point. So clearly, I enjoy the new season, but I really dislike the Archer animation style that it is moved to. I don't know if you've noticed it, and now that I've said it, you will probably notice it if you go back and watch it. But
I hadn't noticed.
So go back and watch just a random, anywhere between like seasons 7 and 10. Watch a random episode there, and then just watch one of the newer episodes. And I know it's not probably as jarring if King of the Hill has been like one of my comfort time TV shows forever, so I've seen it over and over and over again.
Sure.
But if it was something you enjoyed, and then you're like, oh, I love King of the Hill, and then you saw there's a new season coming out, but you haven't really, watched any of the older ones over and over again, you probably wouldn't notice it as much. But it was very jarring to see the animation style. And
what do you mean by Archer style? Like that thicker outline kind of thing, and then obviously King of the Hill was hand-drawn cells back in the day, which I'm sure it's not anymore.
Yeah, most of that new animation, Archer, some of those other shows. I know there's other shows that do it, but off the top of my head, I'm not drawing from it. But I believe it's either like Adobe After Effects. It's very computerized animation, and as you said, King of the Hill was hand cell drawn, and it was beautiful animation.
Yeah.
And I know that there was actually, I can't remember if it was Mike Judge or it might have been one of the showrunners or producers of the show actually came out and said, I know a lot of people, which so at least I know I'm not alone, but there were a lot of people that had commented on the animation style, and he had said, it's not viable for us to even do anymore. Either they don't have the cost. The cost is so much higher now to do hand-drawn and everything.
Prohibitively expensive in comparison. Yeah, it's unbelievably expensive.
Capitalism kind of killed that kind of animation, but they're doing the best that they can with it. And again, like, I thought the season was amazing. But
I'd rather have a new season of King of the Hill than have it still be animated by hand kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know if you guys touched on it or not, but
no.
For me, this reboot, and not even a reboot, this continuation of the King of the Hill is so much better than, Futurama is the one I keep coming back to. I wish they would have ended that.
Yeah, I never watched it because people had such a kind of visceral reaction to it and hated it. So I was just like, all right, I'll just let Futurama be as it sits in my brain kind of thing.
And I think that's safe. I think a new season started this week, which I probably will not partake in. But I think it was either the first or second continuation of Futurama coming back. They actually did a fairly good job. And there was an episode that ended, which should have ended the series. And the episodes basically ended with Fry and Leela seeing a time gate and being able to like go back in the past, and because Fry and Leela finally get together and they decide, wouldn't it be great if we could just do this journey all over again, rediscover each other. So basically the final episode leads you into going back to the first episode and watching it again because they walk through this time portal and start over. It was like the perfect ending to give you a reason.
A perfect preview for what you're going to be talking about later that I won't go into too much, but
maybe
very similar. Yeah,
and there might have been a reason why I decided to bring that up. It's almost like you're picking up on this stuff. I love it. You're starting to you're really starting to come into yourself, and you're radio podcasting here. So I haven't.
I know what you mean, though. I said Beavis and Butthead definitely looks different, even though I haven't watched the new ones. And I can apply it to, Simpsons. Like when you think of the golden years of the Simpsons, that's what it's supposed to look like to me. Like seasons 5 through 10, maybe.
Yep.
And then once you hit the movie, it shifted to this totally new style of animation, and I consider everything from there forward to be quote new Simpsons, and thus not as good, but. Yeah, it didn't take me out of it. I didn't notice it, but I'm sure I will now. But as long as the product's still good, I'm happy.
No, I absolutely loved. I'm sad I couldn't make it to talk about it yesterday because I've was an absolutely huge fan of the new season. But it was just that animation, and I noticed it when they started showing the previews of the season. I think there was a scene they showed where Hank and Dale and Peggy and Nancy were walking through I think it was the George W. Bush Museum or whatever. Mm-hmm. And if you watch the background characters as they're walking through it, you can just tell the animation is very computer animated. I don't really how to.
It looks too smooth or too good. Yes. Almost like a soap opera effect. Kind of. There's a smoothing over.
Exactly.
In the final production. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
But so. I don't know if you guys probably knew this, but it's already been renewed for another season, which is
that's awesome.
Fantastic. I'm curious to see because I know Johnny Hardwick was able to do, I think he did 4 or 5 episodes before he had died in the new season, and then Toby Huss took over, which
I did not we didn't get into that, and I found that now that you bring it up, so jarring. That's something that took me out, is that it was clear Dale is being played sometimes 2 different voices in the same episode, it felt like.
Yep. No, it was 2 different voices in some of the episodes. Yeah. So when they did the recording, it wasn't necessarily Johnny Hardwick did, episodes 1 through 4 and then he died and they recorded. Because obviously, that's not how
the
production works. Yeah. So there absolutely was were episodes where Johnny Hardwick did half the lines, and then they either had to re-record or something, and then obviously Johnny Hardwick had tragically passed away, and Toby Huss came in. So I think the new season, as you saying, jarring. I think the new season having it be all Toby Huss, I think you'll probably it'll be a little weird. I think we had likened it to the Rick and Morty voice actors, which are different, but I don't think they're different enough to really take you out of anything.
It's like my brain goes, wait a minute, that's not quite right. And by the time I'm done, a half-hour episode, I'm already totally used to it. And by the time you're in the next one, it's like, oh yeah, that's how they sound. It's just the disconnect with my brain where it's like, okay, that voice is different with Dale, but then it's different again in the same episode kind of thing. And I give them all the credit in the world for, including the work they did already done, and honoring him in that way. But it's I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little jarring, because it was noticeable. And I think that the new guy did a fantastic job, and it was interesting that I confused who's who. Johnny Hardwick was the classic guy that did it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It seemed like his take on the voice was quite different than a lot of the older episodes too, or at least in my mind or in my memory. Like
yeah, if you
sounded different.
Yeah, if you listen to or if you watch the first couple seasons of King of the Hill to the last couple seasons of King of the Hill, even Johnny Hardwick changed his Dale voice. Mm-hmm. So I know there was a lot of talk, and this is just going to be our new King of the Hill episode. Screw everything else. Right. I'm just jealous that you guys get to talk about it, and now we're going to take this over. But yeah, I think I am happy that they were able to keep Toby Huss in the show, because Toby Huss was he played Khan, which obviously they've done.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, he was originally Khan. I believe he did Buck Strickland. Toby Huss did a lot of Joe Jack. He did a bunch of side characters. And it's nice that Ronnie Chang, who of the Daily Show and Interior Chinatown. I don't know if you watched that show. If not, it'll be on a list of
add it to the queue.
Wyatt's picks. But yeah, Ronnie Chang, I think, did a pretty good job with Khan. You can obviously tell, the voice difference there too, clearly. But I appreciate that they're able to keep Toby Huss in. Did you ever watch The Adventures of Pete and Pete when you were younger?
Yeah, but it's been that long since I've seen it.
And Toby Huss was already the strongest man in the world.
Oh, cool. All right, I know exactly who that is.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Toby Huss is awesome. Have you watched, now we're going to just play the let's put things into Nick's backlogs for shows that Wyatt can pick for him to watch. This is a show I've talked about on social media quite a bit because I do a rewatch of it probably once every 5 years. But have you watched *Halt and Catch Fire*?
Nope. Add that to the list.
Oh my God. That's one that is going to just basically be a long-term project for you, because that's not one that I think, you just watch a couple episodes and give me your thoughts on it and then, kind of squirrel it away for, whenever.
Yeah.
It's 4 seasons, I think. I think there's 10 episodes a season. It takes place in Texas on the Silicon Prairie during the late 70s and early 80s, and it's about a tech company and how they navigated through technology at that time. It's a very
the birth of the valley, as it were.
Yes, it's a very obviously fictionalized take on it, because this group of 6-7 characters who you meet in the first season somehow end up having their hands in just about every major innovation in technology for the next 15 years. But being able to suspend your disbelief or suspend your belief for a little bit and watch it, it's a super well done show. But yeah, Toby Huss is I will sing his praises until the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm not great at binging stuff, so if you give me a 4-season show, the likelihood that I'll get through it, even a season inside of a week, is probably somewhat low.
Nope,
but
yeah,
as a long-term assignment kind of thing, I could definitely take that on, but it would have to be, the kind of thing that the wife and I watch 2 or 3 episodes of, a week if we're lucky.
I think, I don't even think that's going to be, a quote-unquote long-term assignment. That's just why it says, you should really watch this show, because I think it would be well up your alley.
And now we can figure out where this show came from. This show. Our show. is you telling me that I need to watch stuff that's up my alley and vice versa. So there we go, Pete. So we've explained the whole concept that we've landed on.
Yeah, that actually is pretty true. That's more or less where this thing was born of. That's more or less where this friendship was born of. Was me being like, these shows are great, and being like, have you watched this show? And Nick being like, I've never heard of it.
It just so happens to be my exact, sense of humor that Wyatt seems to understand. So there you go. What else besides talking about new stuff? King of the Hill. There was something else. The Nintendo Direct for Mario's 40th. Did you watch that?
Oh, yes, I did. We don't need to do and maybe, I know we had talked about this before.
I'm not going to recap the whole thing, yeah.
No. I'm saying right now we don't have to, but, maybe we can do a full episode recap of it because, there was quite a bit, but, I figure we could maybe touch on the, highlights or lowlights, depending on what you believe. But, yeah, there was quite a few interesting things. As I don't know if you had just said, I apologize that, it's the Mario's 40th anniversary Nintendo Direct. So, okay, yeah. So I at least was it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was not surprised that there was no big, huge Mario announcement because Nintendo seems to like to hype their anniversaries and then just do it in the weirdest, not really celebratory way possible.
Yeah. Not really doing much of anything at all, and I don't really care, but I can tell you that if you're a 9-year-old that just bought a Switch 2 and you're very much anticipating the announcement of a new 3D Mario game for Mario's 40th anniversary, you got gut shot a little bit.
So was he a little disappointed after watching it?
I mean, he's just like, where was it? Like, how could they possibly do Mario's 40th anniversary without a new Mario for their new console? And this is not me saying this. This is my son. Dude, that's Nintendo, brother. I don't know.
Get ready for a life of confusing decisions.
Yeah. So he was a little miffed. To say the least, and it's cool that there's a new Yoshi game, and I guess like the add-on to Wonder will be kind of cool, but like Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2, is that even going to be a package? Are they selling those separately?
Yeah, it's going to be a physical dual pack, and I believe they're also going to be sold separately in the eShop because Super Mario Galaxy was already released on the Mario 3D collection with 64 and Sunshine. Which
was just low-end emulation running this stuff. Are they even like putting a new coat of paint on Galaxy and Galaxy 2, or is it just going to be the same exact thing, low effort?
From what I read, it's going to be more of a polishing and more instead of just tossing on these emulators onto a cart and saying, here we go. So at least I believe the 3D collection might have been done for the 35th anniversary. I think that was an anniversary thing. So at least, you're getting a little bit of a slap of new paint on it, I guess, and it's not just a port.
I have a lot of trouble understanding their decisions these days. Like, I mean, to do the 2 Switch Zeldas on Switch 2 as not a double pack and still have the balls to charge as much as they are for them, I think is kind of horseshit. And I mean, they're just double dipping. That's become their entire model is double dipping. And we ran out of Wii U library titles to rehash that no one played during that console lifetime. So you can't like lean into a back catalog as much as they did last time that built such a sweet, successful library for the Switch. So I don't really know what you do. You got to get people excited, and I don't know.
That's why they're releasing all of these, Switch 2 editions. These, you just mentioned the Super Mario Wonder, meet up at Bella Bell Park. Now it's like, you bought this on Switch, so now why don't you come buy this new expansion pack that adds new levels and new party games?
Yeah.
So it's really, as you said, Nintendo lived a lot off of, hey, we had some pretty damn good games on Wii U, but no one played it, so we're just going to release it for Switch. But everyone then bought the Switch, so what do? You create a special Switch 2 edition that has, higher frame rates, that has, a higher fidelity, it gives you,
Yeah, I mean, it's worth noting that a lot of stuff ran like shit on the original Switch once it had a couple years behind it. I mean, outside of first-party titles, it was not the easiest thing to port to had any type of demanding 3D, what have you, I think.
Well, we don't need to get fully into it yet, but did you play your game on Switch, or did you end up moving to a different console, the one I assigned you?
Nope, I did it on Switch.
Yes, so I believe that you could probably tell me all about, wow, this does not seem to be optimized.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mario Galaxy 2, I guess was one of the, I wouldn't say it was one of the, I guess that was the big Mario announcement for the Nintendo Direct, because that I believe we have a talking flower now that is coming out. Nintendo's getting more into the physical toy market, I guess is what you could say. Alarmo.
I don't know what they're going to be charging for that thing, but with the price of with the price of Amiibos now, what are they, like $30 or something?
Yeah.
God damn, I hate to be old, but I'm going to date myself here. Yeah, when Amiibos were first coming out, I could go to Toys R Us, which no longer exists, and they were constantly buy one get one half off.
Yep.
So they were $12, and you could get another one for $6. So you get two for under $20. And now they're like 20 to 30 a piece, it seems like.
Yes, and some of the bigger ones are even more, I believe.
Yeah, that's insane, man. So I don't think, they're selling a $100 alarm clock and now a talking flower. It's going to be like $60 minimum, isn't it?
Yeah. My guess, let's, while we're talking, let me take a look. But yeah, my guess was going to be probably about 50, but 60 is probably closer.
It's cute, but it's a damn tchotchke. It doesn't have any purpose.
Oh God. Oh, that's just a... Yeah, I don't... quickly looking, I don't see it up there yet. But yeah, my guess is... pricing has not yet been announced. But yeah, $50 to $60 seems like the wheelhouse that Nintendo likes to live in for their toys.
Yeah. And then I guess just to close this out without going a whole... deep dive into this, they did make a Virtual Boy physical announcement too.
That was the other thing that I really wanted to touch on. And like I said, maybe we can do an episode going through most of the stuff. But yeah, the Virtual Boy Nintendo Classics Nintendo Switch Online edition was announced, which almost seems like it could have been an April Fool's announcement if we were earlier in the year, because I'm not sure how many people are clamoring for the 14, 15 games that were released on Virtual Boy.
I think it has a lot to do with nostalgia mining and trying to get every last drop out of that mine, every little bit of diamond. But if you were around when the Virtual Boy was, you know that it was kind of a miserable experience and it was not fun to play, despite the fact that some of the games are decent. Like Mario,
there are a few good games.
Yeah, Wario, very good game. But I these days just as soon would just play them on a handheld emulator that I could use a shader on, so not everything is red on red on red, and I can actually sit down and enjoy this game without my eyes bleeding after 10 minutes of use. I'm not sure who this is for other than shelf collectors.
Yes, they are releasing an actual plastic Virtual Boy that you slide your Switch into to play the Virtual Boy games.
Oh, is that how it works? Oh my God.
Yeah,
it's really just a hunk of plastic and like almost doing a Labo VR type thing, again.
And it's funny you say that, because if you don't want to spend the $99.99 on this piece of plastic that you slide your Switch into, there's also going to be a cheaper alternative cardboard Virtual Boy that you can slide your Switch into to put your eyes up to play the Virtual Boy.
Fair enough that they're offering options, but both seem like taking the piss to me by Nintendo is, I don't know.
Yeah, for any of our younger listeners that don't really know too much about the Virtual Boy, it was Nintendo's first foray into VR, is really what they said it was. It's VR 3D gaming. It was a headset that you had to put on a table, put your head up to it so you could see, and there was little, almost a split, kind of like the Wii controller, almost, in the sense that you had two separate hands, you weren't holding it, although I might be misremembering that, and it might have actually just been a regular controller. Now that I'm thinking about it,
it was almost PlayStation 1-esque in a lot of ways when I'm picturing it in my head, but I might be butchering that too.
Yeah, I shouldn't be speaking as an authority on the Virtual Boy as someone that played probably 30 minutes of it, but it was best known for giving people huge headaches because it was just a red on red screen.
So
and
pure eye strain the entire time.
Yes, because as you all know, red is a very common color for your eyes. So it was ran on batteries, and I believe the batteries lasted 40, 50 minutes or so. It was probably I'd say from the NES, not that there was many things released before, or the Virtual Boy, but it was definitely the first Nintendo flop when it came to their hardware. Which
they could kind of do no wrong at that point, couldn't they? But it's one of those things where it's like, it's cool that they were experimenting. I'm not sure that it should be remembered as positively as they're attempting here, but I think it's not just nostalgia mining for us. I think it's directly laser aimed at a younger generation.
Yes, that never got to experience it.
Yeah, they wish they were around at that time, and it's cool, and it's kind of like this 90s retro thing, and there's a ton of that going on right now. So if there's a buck to be made, I guess I can't blame them, but I certainly won't be lining up for it.
No, I mean, I'm sure, because I think it's included with the online like expansion pack or whatever that I am part of, because I have a family plan, and with the people I have in there, it costs us all like $7 a year.
All right, so you get access to all the games.
I believe so.
As part of the online subscription. So it's really just like, if you wanted to, you could buy this special hunk of plastic and try and reconnect with what it was, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's about the only, I shouldn't say about the only, but that's one of the things that I do appreciate about Nintendo's online subscription. While, it's not nearly as robust as Xbox Live or, PlayStation Network, especially when it comes to voice chat, group chat, things like that. Like, Nintendo's prices, especially if you have family that lives all across the country that may share different names with you, it's a super affordable way to be able to access, their NES library, SNES, GameCube, N64. And while yes, people like us have 70 different emulators and ways to play these things, so it's not necessarily, a hard way after using our legally obtained copies to play our copies of ROMs.
Fully licensed usage. But yeah, I'll give them credit there. I think it's an easily accessible way for most people to experience those things, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's funny you mentioned that some of the things, like how cheap it is. I was on one of those family plans until the guy who actually owns it, his kids are now old enough to want to be a part of it, so I got booted. But yeah, I mean, that whole system is kind of weird. The whole time I had it, I don't recall ever playing anything online ever once, ever. I never even delved into the whole friends codes thing, because that seemed like a pain in the ass, and it was back in the DS days, and so whatever, just never messed with it. I did mess with like the virtual console stuff, and that was fine and good. But when he said, hey, my kid wants this now, so I got to boot you off. Okay. And I've never missed anything, really, ever. So, I mean, if you like having access to that emulation stuff, more than understandable. I get it. But I've just never felt compelled to even play Switch stuff online, really. It's just very much a me and this game couch console for me, and always kind of was. Whereas Xbox and PlayStation and PC, I might be a lot more inclined to say, hey, let's jump on and go play this right now.
Yeah, to me, Nintendo has always been the couch multiplayer console.
Yeah, local multi for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I've always viewed most of my Nintendo systems. Of course, Nintendo's only had online since Wii U. We could play Wii U. Even we might have.
I think was on. No, Mario Kart.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart Wii was okay. Yeah. But still, so there's been this is the 4th generation that Nintendo's had online, but it's still always
or anything for GameCube.
Oh, there was GameCube too. You know what? I am just really showing my age here, but I don't know how much. What games would you have played? What first party games
it would have had to have been like
Double Dash.
private server stuff. I don't know about
yeah.
Double Dash, but I'm thinking in like I don't know, like SOCOM PS2 era online games
that's
kind of
true.
thing.
Yeah, but either way, Nintendo's just always been the invite some buddies over, let's play Mario Party, let's do whatever. I know Mario Party can now be played online, but I feel like that's a game almost like a different system. Well, actually, it could be on the same system, but Overcooked. You can play Overcooked online now, but Overcooked is a game that I think you need to be playing with other people sitting next to you and yelling at each other.
Yeah, like we were just talking about the other day. What were we talking about? Killer Queen. It's like, yeah, they have it for Switch, and that is cool, and it is nice, but like there is something lost when you're not standing around a giant mega cab with a bunch of people screaming at each other. Like that's where the fun really comes in, I think. And same for local co-op or versus, and that's where they've always shined.
Yeah, kind of talking about local co-op, couch co-op, and stuff. I am going to be hosting a video game night at the Pinball Club that the one I talk about every once in a while. Capital Pinball Club in Concord, New Hampshire. I have kind of helped spearhead. Yeah, sure. Let me give myself that credit. Help spearhead, an expansion of moving from just pinball games to, we now offer a board game night once a week where people bring in a board game they want to play, and we have people come in and learn how to play new board games.
Didn't even look like they needed to bring any in from the picture I saw. It looks like somebody donated a few hundred.
Yeah, I was going to say, I sent you a picture. We have, at this point, I think we have over 300 board games that are, which is wild. And there's so many games I've never even heard of, which is really cool.
You got real board games in there too, not just like Monopoly. It's, Ticket to Ride and Catan and all that, involved type stuff that I have no idea how to play.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing is there's plenty of people that don't know how to play these things. Each week, someone that knows the game is like, all right, I'm going to be teaching this game this week. If you want to show up and play, I'll either teach you, or if you're someone that just loves to play it, show up and we'll set up a couple games. Yeah, so I'm basically doing the same thing with video games because obviously, surprising lots of people, I enjoy video games, and it's something that, has been a big part of my leisure since I was probably... I think I got my NES when I was 3 years old. So for the last, almost 35 years, I've played video games, and they're fun. So starting tomorrow night, I'm going to be hosting a weekly video game night. Some nights will be, more cooperative stuff. Some will be more competitive stuff. But, the idea is all skills and levels are going to come and show up. And, it's not going to be, a Super Smash Brothers tournament where people are bringing in their own fight sticks or bringing in the GameCube controllers with,
Maybe pause on the competitive fighting community. Just to start.
Yeah. So my idea was I've got, I think, 12 to 15 different games that I've put together for each week, just so at least I can have an idea. And when I put it out there to promote it, people, can have an idea of what's coming up instead of just randomly showing up. But my idea for the first week, and you can give me your opinion on it, I figured, I wanted to pick something that has mass appeal. That's something that, people from, either grandparents to children, teenagers is basically where we have our cutoff at the club. Teenagers to, grandparents have played or, would enjoy playing. So
you're going to say either Wii Sports or something in the Mario Kart series.
You nailed it. So I'm going to be doing a Mario Kart night.
Hey!
And I actually just indefinitely loaned my CRT to the club so we could hook up some of the older systems to that because that's how you that's how you play older games. I hate having like an N64 hooked up to an LED, and it just that's not how it's meant to be played. So I'm actually going to be And for, people that just play games, it's perfectly fine. But for, nerds like you and me,
it would be an itch that you would not be able to scratch kind of thing.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to have 3 TVs set up. We have 2 LED TVs and a CRT. So I'm going to be running Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch, which, everybody has played, and if not, everyone knows about it. I'm going to be bringing my Switch 2 to the club tomorrow so I can run Mario Kart World because there's still plenty of people that don't have a Switch 2, and I figured it'd be fun for people to be able to try a new game.
Yeah, very nice of you.
Yeah, if it's something that I'm confident in, I want to, put my money where my mouth is.
Yeah,
Obviously the Switch 2 is coming home with me after, but yeah, no, it's
Nintendo, do you hear this? We have someone in the New Hampshire area who's promoting your new products to a willing public to come play. So perhaps it would be in your interest to send him materials to keep promoting through this local, not a charitable organization, social club.
Yep.
And you could gain new customers via Wyatt. And so long as you're sending him stuff, I think you should send it to me too, so we have something to talk about on the show. So just food for thought, Nintendo. I know you're out there. Come on, just send me free stuff, and maybe I'll be nicer about your directs.
This is going to end with us getting a copyright strike somehow and a cease and desist. Do not talk about our product anymore. But yeah, so
Nick has no integrity if it's gonna come with free stuff. So yeah.
Hey, you got to shoot your shot, right?
Yeah.
So the CRT, it was between either doing Super Mario Kart, Mario 64, or Double Dash. My Double Dash mini CD. I think that's the format. That my
mini
GameCube
DVD.
disc, mini DVD. Yes, not CD. Yeah, my GameCube disc, anyways, is still in one of my video game boxes that I have not been able to find. But we actually have 1 or 2 copies of Mario Kart 64 at the club with a couple of N64s already. So that was the kind of the obvious. Yeah. So, people our age or so, at least when I was in college, you were a little bit before me, not too much before, but Mario Kart 64 was that was one of the games that you would walk into a dorm room and you'd have 4 people playing.
It was, I missed all of that. I had friends. It's not a time or an era thing. Like I had friends that were, N64 only and definitely playing Mario Kart and stuff. But I don't know. I was just so deep into PlayStation at the time, maybe that I was
that's fair.
Like, no, that's bad. Or even I think it was my age too that maybe it was like Mario Kart. That's for kids. Like, GoldenEye is cool though. I'll play that. Because there was definitely plenty of deathmatching going on. I'll definitely say that. So. Yeah, you'll have a lot of fun, man. I think it's a great thing. And let's be honest, like your CRT is probably going to get a lot more use and love there than it would be in your house. As much as you might have liked looking at it and owning it, it will actually get used. My
CRT in the last 2 years probably got about 3 days use. One day, I found my copy of Rockin' Cats for NES, which is, I don't know if you've played that game.
I don't believe I have.
Yeah, I've had that one since I was 3 or 4 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's actually a fairly expensive game on eBay at this point. It was an Atlas game that I think came out towards the end of the NES life cycle. So, I've always if I wanted to sell, it's probably like between 100 and 150. It may have gone up or down at this point. But it's one of those games that's going to follow me to my grave. I have no heirs, and it's just I'm going to have it buried with me because screw it. Maybe I'll have something to But it'll be fun. I used it for that, and then this will be the only thing. Like I might have to spend my birthday eve at the pinball club because as it's been a tradition since I was like 18 years old. Why it's been a tradition, I don't know. I just starting to do things and being like, this is fun. I'm going to do this every year. It might be a little bit of the tism in me or something that just,
I do that too. So yeah, straight with you.
Yeah. So every night before my birthday, I play through my childhood copy of Super Mario Brothers on my original NES that I've had since I was 3 years old. Sadly, not on the TV I've had since I was 3 years old, but on an old CRT TV.
Pretty badass,
yeah. I just every January 2nd, I play through, I start at 8 o'clock, and I should, keep track of how long it takes me to beat it. At this point, it's, I don't know, half an hour or so, maybe a little bit less. No warps, no anything.
Through.
Yeah. No, if I played through it with warps, it'd be done in 5 minutes. But it's fun, it's kind of funny. The slightly older and older I get, I'm like, I kind of feel like my reaction time is starting to slow a little bit. I don't
Funny
like
how
this.
that works, huh?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But so aside from that, like the CRT just sat in the corner of my office with me going, oh man, look at these, 7,000 games that I have that can be played on these things, and it just never gets turned on. So I do hope that it'll be appreciated over at the club. Some people can play some old games on the TV it's meant for.
Yeah, it will. And that's exactly the mindset that you get. It's like I had this flat screen 36-inch Trinitron that weighed the size of a small economy car, and it was great, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but it didn't really ever get used. And it's like one of those things where it's like, well, when we have people over, have a party or something, we'll have then we could turn it on, it'll be cool. And the maybe once a year that might happen kind of thing. And yeah, it was a lot of me admiring it from a distance and not using it. So I think you've probably found the best application to share the joy of the hobby with others, and good for you on, volunteering your time to do it.
Yeah. And, it'll be nice. And like you said, it'll be great to actually have it get some use. One of the reasons that we settled on the format that we settled on is because you and I share the same affinity for collecting these great things that we're going to use, and then we don't use them.
Best laid plans.
Yeah, so
that would have been a good show name. Shit.
That can be our spin-off.
Yeah.
Speaking of best laid plans, I think we've had about a 40-minute intro, which is
38 by my count, and I am dying for a pee, so I'm going to ask you to hit pause with Craig, and we will let the audience know that we have paused it before getting into the next part. Hey!
All right, and we are paused.
Sam! Tim's stomach is upset and he wants you to come rub his belly.
Why don't you do it?
He wants you.
Tell him to bring the Verners. My guts are going nuts.
And he wants you to bring a Verner.
Yeah, I heard him.
My guts are going nuts.
And it looks like Nick is back from peeing. So as I was saying before, his bladder called him to the bathroom.
A lot of coffee, folks. Sorry.
Speaking of video games and speaking of us liking to collect things and not using them, that brings us to the whole point of our segment, Super Backlog Buster Brothers. Maybe just Backlog Buster Brothers. I can't remember what we've settled on yet. We don't have it yet.
Settle on it, yeah.
The idea where we give each other assignments, whether it be movies, TV shows, and or video games, and that we have either played or that one of us has played and we think that the other one would enjoy. So since we're already talking about video games, I figure we'll start with you. I assigned you Bloodstained, Curse of the Moon. Nope, I can't remember which the subtitle is for this one. This is
Ritual of the Night. The main entry. Curse of the Moon series were the 8-bit offshoots.
Yeah, the Castlevania offshoots.
It started as a Kickstarter bonus, I believe, for Ritual of the Night. They said if we hit this level, we'll make an entire game in 8-bit too, or something like that. So Ritual of the Night is, for lack of a better descriptor, it's kind of a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night. I think that's what it even intends to be. So if you like Metroidvania games, it should be in your wheelhouse. If you don't, it probably won't. But it is definitely that formula, and bravo, man. It's good as hell. So you're definitely right that I would be into it. I noticed kind of I say it's a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, but it definitely doesn't take itself as seriously as the old Konami games. There's definitely a vein of humor running throughout the entire thing, which I absolutely love. Some of the there's haunted portraits that will chase you around the castle that are clearly just like silly portraits of the dev team, and then there's enemies that are a giant kitten head that attacks you, or a giant Yorkie, which I imagine are probably based on dev pets, and they're adorable as they try and kill you. Stuff like that. You wanted to say something or comment? Go ahead.
No, so yes, the portraits and I believe the pets, not only are they devs, but that also was a Kickstarter reward that if you hit a certain tier, your portrait would be in the game.
Even better, yeah, because some of them are definitely they're making some silly faces kind of thing. And it just keeps things light because it's not an easy game.
No.
I'll say that. It's not punishingly difficult, but I think I had told you this. I had actually played it for about a half hour and then kind of just put it aside and then forgot about it because I got stopped at the very first boss and got frustrated and put it down, like I said. And coming back to it, I'm starting at that like half hour point and jumping right back into it. And it took me like a good few tries, like, all right, well, let's recognize patterns, let's slow down, let's try, and it took me some effort to beat it. And as I've gone further into the game, exploring more, like, you definitely get a little stacked up. It's I don't remember if Symphony of the Night was like this just because it's been 25 odd years or whatever, but yeah, you're so weak at the beginning that there is like a very large difficulty curve stepping into it. And as things go, like I've become, more of a badass warrior chick with a bunch of abilities and all the shards and everything. And yeah, even like the art style is really different.
Like we're having technical difficulties. Oh. Fuck Comcast in Xfinity.
We lost Wyatt's internet there for a moment, folks, so we're going to have to do some editing magic to this, but that's okay. And so where I was, we were talking about Ritual of the Night. I said I didn't know if Symphony of the Night was like this because I can't recall, but you're so basically weak at the start of this game that there is a very immediate difficulty curve.
Yep.
And as time goes on, you do get much better, and the difficulty I found at least does relax a little bit because I have not had anywhere near the trouble that I had with that first boss on any of the subsequent ones. And I mean, I can't say that I'm close to the end. I have, I think, at last 54% of the full map uncovered, so I'm maybe about halfway. Yeah. And everything that I've read seems to say that like progression is almost entirely connected to map percentage.
Yep. You could actually finish the game.
Whole genre. It makes sense for that genre, because you gain this ability which now allows you to go over here, and that's how it works.
Yeah, I think one of the times I played it, I made it to the final boss, I think with like 30%, a very small percentage of the map uncovered, and I beat the game.
Wow.
And I think I got like a really crappy ending because there's like certain things that you're supposed to do, and if you don't do them, then something happens. Because I was just like, oh, I know where the boss is because I played the game before. I'm like, I want to see what happens if I more or less, not go like straight to him, but instead of going to the places I need to go here and fight the boss. And then I beat the boss, and it was just like, you shouldn't have done this. I'm like, oh, well, that was pointless.
It's kind of punishing in so much that it was hard to get myself back into the mind frame of dedicated save rooms to an extent, even though I do play a lot of those older games. Because man, that was always a thing in some of the classic Castlevania titles is that, all right, did that, beat that guy, saved, and now I've been trotting around the castle for a half an hour, opening up all these new places, and oh shit, I just got killed. And that just erased the last half an hour of gameplay.
And then you don't want to play.
Yeah, I've done that a few times, and like definitely, brought the Switch back online from sleep mode and been greeted by the game over screen that I angrily turned off. So yeah, there's been some backtracking, but I'd say I probably got a good 8 hours into it, maybe 8 hours. And yeah, it's fantastic. There's no doubt that I'll definitely finish it. You were certainly right to recommend it from my backlog. And I would say like Castlevania Symphony of the Night being one of my most cherished games of all time, it would be impossible for you not to like this. And I knew that
That's
going
kind of what
in,
I figured.
that I would enjoy it. It was thanks to the format of this show, I don't know that anyone would have ever pushed me over the hump to give it another shot, to go back to it. Otherwise, I would just look at it as an insurmountable pain in the ass kind of thing, like I do for starting a lot of games. So kudos to this, because I will finish it, and it was awesome, and it makes me want to play Curse of the Moon 2, which I also have.
Yeah. I think you'd already said you played them, but I do want to touch on it because they're two of my favorite games I've ever played. But you've played the Ori games, right, on Xbox?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Those, like I will stand on the top of a mountain and tell anyone that will listen right now, like if you at this point, I believe it got ported to Switch. It's on PC and it's on Xbox. I don't know if it made it to PlayStation. I'm pretty sure it didn't because this was part of like the Xbox being like, we're gonna put stuff on Nintendo kind of.
Yeah,
push.
I got it as a pack-in with my Xbone.
Yes.
Xbox One.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I did too, and I never touched it for the longest time until the new one came out, and I was hearing like, oh, the previews like this game is really good and everything. And I went, you know what? That kind of seems like it'd be up my alley. So I played, I think
Blind Forest.
Yes, Blind Forest is the first one. I played that, but at that point, I think they had released like the remastered version right before they were bringing out Will o' the Wisp. So I'm like, oh, cool, I'll play this nice remastered version. And man, if I didn't just like blow through both of those games, like, and I'm not afraid to admit, like, those are some emotional games. Like,
so if you're not getting hit right in the field in like the opening 15 minutes of the first game, like you're not human. Like those, yeah, and they do it entirely without dialogue too. It's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the wild part. Is that there's no dialogue in the game, and it makes you like it. I hope it doesn't turn into like a movie or a TV show because some things I enjoy as the medium of the medium of video games, but it could be something that I could see it being adapted into a CG animated, it's like the Wild Robot kind of, not that it's the same.
Or what was the one that came out last year and it won a bunch of awards with the cat and the animals on a boat and it has no dialogue in it whatsoever.
I have no idea.
Oh God! Well, somebody's yelling at their radio right now. I'll find it and let you know.
But like that one, yeah. So how many stars you give it out of 5?
Oh God, I would have to.
Or whatever your grading scale is, It can be whatever you make up.
Excuse me. No, I mean, it's not perfect. But
no.
What is?
Especially the Switch port.
Yeah. Oh, that's worth mentioning too. If you're gonna play this, Wyatt warned me. I already owned a physical copy on Switch. It kind of runs like shit on Switch. You're gonna get most of the time you're gonna get sustained 30, but there are a lot of issues of slowdown, and if you got too many things happening on the screen, it can get pretty chuggy. So just fair warning if you're considering that it's gonna run a lot better elsewhere, or if you already have a Switch 2, I'm sure it'll run phenomenally there.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try it on, the new Switch, but I would like to hope that maybe there's a little bit of a frame unlocking there, because sometimes it definitely dipped down to like single-digit frames.
The movie I was trying to think of was Flow, a 2024
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Animated adventure film, a Latvian, French, and Belgian co-production. It features no dialogue and follows a cat trying to survive along with other animals in a seemingly post-apocalyptic world as the water level has dramatically risen. So there you go.
So is this a sequel to Waterworld then?
It's actually concurrent. That's the human story happening over here, and this is the animated cat version. They're both looking for dry land. Man, if Flow had involved Dennis Hopper, we really could have had something. That would have been entertaining.
What we're saying is this needs to be a double feature. It needs to be the new Barbenheimer.
Yes.
Waterworld and Flow.
And there's a good transition for you. Speaking of going from games to movies, that was your assignment this week. You had a movie to watch.
Holy crap! Did I have a movie to watch? You assigned me the movie Tim Travers and the Time Traveler's Paradox, starring Samuel Dunning, Felicia Day, Joel McHale, Keith David, Danny Trejo, and as far as I know, no one else I recognized, and maybe I didn't even recognize Samuel Dunning, and I did a quick look at his IMDb after watching it, and he's done bit parts in a lot of stuff, but this is, as far as I can tell, was his first, like, leading role in a film.
He had many roles, I guess.
Yes.
Or many leading roles.
He's going to have more leading roles. I see. I got it. I picked it up after my brain was trying to figure it out. But so the idea of this movie, and it's going to be really hard. I can give my review on it, but I don't want to give too much plot away because it's
We can go straight into I said the premise last week. I mean,
Yeah.
The idea is opened up to in the first 5 minutes, so I don't think you're spoiling anything.
Yeah, that's true.
there.
So the idea is Samuel Dunning plays Tim Travers, who is very adamant to make sure that Joel McHale's character knows that he is not a doctor. He went to school for science and had some, I guess, behavioral issues and got kicked out of school and opened up his own business, I guess we could call it.
Lab, what have you?
Yeah, his own lab. I can't remember what the name on the sign is that he has. It's Tim Travers. I can't remember.
It's nuclear projects or something in that world, yeah.
Yeah, Tim Travers is basically he's a supervillain, more or less. He is... There's not a lot in common with it, but... Actually, there's really not a lot in common aside from Felicia Day, but it kind of like the premise of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. You're seeing the movie from the viewpoint of the bad guy. Tim Travers is not the good guy in this movie.
I disagree.
He learns how to be a better guy, but especially if the flashback with the potato, do you remember that?
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly
not great.
Yes.
He is a flawed protagonist. How about that?
Deeply
flawed.
Yes, incredibly flawed. So the idea, and Nick had touched on it last week, but for anyone that needs a refresher, Tim Travers is looking at the time traveler's paradox, which basically says that if someone goes back in time and they kill their younger self, what would happen? Because if the younger self no longer exists, then technically,
how could you ever have traveled back in time to kill them?
Right.
It's a paradox.
Right. And this happens, as Nick said, in the first 5 minutes of the movie, we see Tim Travers creates his time machine. He goes back in time and he shoots himself in the head and kills himself. And he kind of looks around and he's still there. And he's kind of pissed because the
universe is supposed to fold in on itself and end all of space-time, yeah.
Because he wanted to destroy the universe. He says at one point in the movie that his goal in life was to end up at the end of the universe, having the universe destroyed, standing next to God, and basically telling him that it's all bullcrap. Like,
I don't know if that was that part of it, because I was like, Joel McHale, I know, comes at him, and Joel McHale plays kind of like a alarmist conspiracy. He plays like an Alex
Jones-ish kind of guy.
Yeah. And
not in the super horrible sense, but just like everything's a conspiracy, and
But he does say at one point, he's like, all right, so let's suppose that all of this happens and you're successful. So what? Then you destroy the entire universe to prove that you could? And he's like, that's a really good question. I hadn't really thought about that. And I don't think it's supposed to be that he's evil. It's just that he is so blinded by the pursuit that anything outside of that, including like the opposite sex, as is touched on, or anything, relationships, anything, is just distraction from that singular goal. And it's that level of like obsession, I suppose, where he hasn't even really considered what would happen if he did do it, because that's your Jeff Goldblum quote right there, isn't it, from Jurassic Park? Yeah, he's so preoccupied with whether he could, he didn't stop to think if he should.
And I think that is it's kind of funny that we both have different interpretations of it, and that's great, because the reason why I see him that way is because what he says to Joel McHale's character as to what he wants to do standing at the end of the Undestroyed Universe, he ends up doing at the end of the movie. And
does
basically, yes.
But does he?
In a way, he does. He does before he realizes what's going on. Yeah, we are getting in spoiler territory. But to get more into the actual movie, my thoughts on it, like it's a 7 out of 10 movie for me.
Okay.
But that being said, I absolutely love the movie, and I think that this is the type of movie, or this is the type of idea that I would love to see more in Hollywood or in, anything. It's an original idea. As far as I can tell, it didn't come from, a comic book. It didn't come from, a TV series. It was an original idea that Stimson Sneed, who is the director, and he actually plays the killer in the movie, the one that's trying to hunt Tim Travers the entire
Oh,
time.
the bald guy. Okay,
Yes,
that's the director.
yeah, he was
Cool.
the director and writer of the movie. It's such a unique idea. So like Tim Travers, basically, like you said, he kills himself, and then as a scientist, you need to repeat your hypothesis. You need to prove it.
Repeat experiment, verify results.
Yeah. And so it more or less, throughout the movie, there ends up being more Tim Travers, and it's a whole idea of, all of these Tim Travers together trying to figure out, like, what the hell's going on with this paradox? We need to figure out, like, again, the pursuit of knowledge, like, why is this not working? Everything should have been destroyed. Felicia Day plays kind of a love interest for about 20 minutes until, again, his pursuit of knowledge and himself takes over that, and he basically tells her off. Danny Trejo plays like the big bad character that comes in at the end, which I feel like having Danny Trejo attached to this film did a lot for. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say did a lot for, because I didn't know anything I didn't even know this existed until you told. Where did you find this?
I think I randomly read about it somewhere on the internet. Maybe I read a lot of movie stuff. It could have been Reddit. It could have been anywhere. I don't even know.
But so this movie, the biggest flaw, at least to me, the reason why I gave it like a 7 out of 10 is about maybe a little over halfway or maybe 2/3 in. It just seemed to drag a little bit. Like I watched it all in one sitting. I was planning on doing it in a couple, but I'm like, you know what, I'm going to watch it. And about somewhere between halfway and 2/3 in, I don't want to say I got bored, but I'm like, all right, like I understand, where we're going with this. And the last, I shouldn't say 2/3, but the last quarter of the movie was great. The first, at least half, was great. And then there was just a little bit in the middle that I was almost like,
I'll give it to you that it has a bit of a second act problem. But
overall, it's still great.
Well, because it does actually eventually get you where it needs to go, that I'm a little more forgiving. And they also threw in a scene that amused the hell out of me into the second act, which I'll leave as a surprise. But
we could talk about it after the episode. But I have a fefeeling I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
I mean, every part of this movie is fun to me because one, it doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's
not at all
a lot of really heady questions, kind of thing. But it still keeps it accessible, I think, for a wide audience.
Yes.
And forces you to kind of, what would I do? Oh, I wonder what would I do if I could do that? Well, what would I do in that situation? And you get to like kind of see him enact some of those maybe not so great impulses.
Yes, he's a man that the character very much follows any impulse. He's a very impulsive character.
But then it also, it touches on lived experience and how predetermination doesn't exist. And, so, yeah, there's a lot there. Is it perfect? No. But like you said, it's only original idea. And I don't recall really having seen something like it in the past.
No.
And yeah, despite any, apprehension that the very corny looking poster might give you, there's a lot to sink your teeth into here, I think, for anybody. Whether you're watching it purely as like a dark comedy, a sci-fi thing, human emotional, philosophical with a smattering of physics all thrown in together in a pool. Like it's just interesting. It's different. Yeah. And thank God they didn't go into any multiverse bullshit.
Yeah, I believe there was, when Tim was talking to himself, he brings up the idea of multiverses. And I think the other Tim is like, well, what kind of multiverse are we talking about? Marvel multiverse? And you're just kind of like shitting on the idea of, the whole multiverse thing.
It's become such a played out trope at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that everybody decided to jump into that pool at the exact same time. And that's what we're going to be doing now. And it's like, come on, give me a fucking break. And it was amusing how quickly they had the character kind of write it off.
Yes. Yep. It was literally just a throwaway line. And the character was like, that's stupid. And then they just went back to like thinking about, how can we, because again, like you had said, Tim Travers, his obsession was just, I need to figure out, like, I know that there is a paradox. I don't know how to prove it. Like, these are my 3 theories. He disproved his first theory. He disproved his third theory, which left his second theory about the paradox. And he's like, I need to figure this out. And yeah, he's just his sole obsession. And I still think he's
Evil.
I do, like, and I can see he's not, I wouldn't say like chaotic evil. Actually, maybe I would say he's chaotic evil, but I don't think he's supposed to. He's a flawed character, obviously, but I don't think he's even supposed to play like a flawed protagonist. Like, obviously, he's our main character. He's who we follow throughout the whole movie, and you obviously end up relating most to him because you see everything through his viewpoints. And I really would suggest people watch this movie. Like I said, it's like a 7 out of 10 for me, and that's only because of that little bit of the just kind of lull that you hit. But other than that, like, it was perfect. And this movie, when I was looking this stuff up, and I'll see maybe if it's posted somewhere, but this movie started as a short and then got turned into a full-length feature movie. And I'm curious to see what the short plays out. And you could probably, like, if you condense the movie down probably from the first 5 minutes to like the last 15 minutes, that's probably what the short is.
Yeah.
But I would say if you wanted to watch this, don't watch it with anyone that is prudish.
Don't watch it with your mom, maybe. I don't know.
Don't watch it with your mom. Don't watch it with your young children. Maybe some older teens, depending on the type of things. Like, if they've watched, I'd say rated, like soft rated R stuff before. If you're comfortable watching that stuff with them, you could go ahead and watch this. There's no nudity, but there's a lot of implied stuff, and there's a whole 10-minute sequence that it was like, huh. Yep, I was actually wondering when this was going to happen, and it absolutely did.
Oh, yeah, it's like, they actually did. They're going to explore that. That's what I thought was, really cool about it. Oh, cool. We are actually going to go down that road of where my mind actually went. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed the movie. I found out that Samuel Dunning, who I just assumed was... He this probably sounds wrong. He looks like he is like a British or a European actor, like, and his accent was not really an accent, but we all know how, British European actors, everyone can do an American accent. It's not, hard for them to do. And so I was like, what has this guy been in? Where he's from? I'm like, he's from Brunswick, Maine. He's like the whitest white guy, that most northeastern, like.
He doesn't sound like a Maina. He doesn't sound like a Maina. So.
He puts on like the Midwestern, I'd say, probably.
There's an affectation in there, you think? Yeah.
Yeah. So have you seen, and if you didn't, this whole analogy is going to fall apart, but have you seen the one season series, Kitchen Confidential with Bradley Cooper?
Mm-hmm. On Fox back in the day, yeah.
Yes. Let me see if I can find the actor's name, because I'm sure the actor's been in so many other things. But
John Cho was in that.
Yes, he looks just like John Cho. That's what I was. No. Owen Yauman, the guy that plays Steven, the one, the criminal, the one that comes in. He's the one that like stole stuff for Jack.
Oh, yeah, but he's like the sous chef role.
Yes,
right? The British guy. Yeah.
Like how he looked in that show is like. I see that in Samuel Dunning, so I was like, I wonder if like they're related somehow. That's why I thought, I'm like, maybe he's like a a British or European actor, and then I'm like, no, they're definitely not closely related.
Further.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things because I'm like, this is really an interesting vehicle for someone to be starring in, and like I said, the guy's really done nothing else. I think he did like an episode of Blue Bloods. He did, some bit pieces in TV shows here or there, but this was like his first starring role. And I hope to see him in some other stuff because he was he played the character very well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a bit of a son of a bitch, obviously has too high of an opinion of himself, but can kind of back it up. And oh, God. So many good parts in this movie that I really liked. I would say just go in dark.
Yes.
As best you can and with an open mind. And I hope it finds an audience. Like, I hope that 5 years from now, it's like got some cult status to it, because I think that's where it deserves to live.
It didn't get great. I was talking to you this before we started recording. It didn't get great reviews, depending on where you look. Like IMDb, it has a 5.5 out of 10. Some of the other places I've looked, it has like a 2 to 2.5 stars out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes, surprisingly, which was a compiler of the critics, it got like 86%.
So that's 86% of people gave it a favorable review. That doesn't mean it's 5 out of 5, but
5.6 out of 10 to me, like even that, like that's not
low.
favorable. Yeah,
no,
like
that's low. Yeah, I mean, it could be perhaps a bit heady for some, but there's still stuff to enjoy there, I would think. I don't know. I loved it, and maybe that's just an example of, can't just go by reviews every time.
And that's basically how I live most of my consumption for life, media. Like I don't like someone, this movie sucked or this TV show sucked. I'm like, yep, maybe you thought so, and maybe you're right. But I know I still need to finish watching the final season of Squid Game, which I've basically I hate watched more or less the second season because I loved the first season. I loved how the story was wrapped up. It gave you a little bit of an open ending, like, anything could have happened. What did he do? And then, it just did such gangbusters that Netflix was like, oh yeah, we want to make more seasons of this. I'm like,
cash grab!
Yeah. And the second season was fine. And I know a lot of people enjoyed it. And I'm sure a lot of people have enjoyed the third and final season. But it's like, I enjoy, like, I would rather have one season or one miniseries of something and, have it be open-ended and be like, oh, cool, anything could happen and you can do it instead of just, let's drive home 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons of something because it did so well.
That's the nature of the business at this point, is find formula, hit repeat until people are completely burned on anything to do with it, and then, move on to the next and wither that thing down to a husk kind of thing.
And that's why I love, sadly, it's not going to end up on the show because we've both watched it and we've talked about it a few different times, but that's why, I loved the show Devs. It was 6 to 8 episodes. Yeah. It was a fully enclosed miniseries. A whole story was told, and it was awesome.
Yeah, there's no reason to go on further than that. Look at something like Chernobyl. Obviously, you're not going to see a sequel to that, but perfect.
Chernobyl too.
Perfect miniseries kind of thing.
You say that
8 to 10 hours to tell that story.
You say that, but we are getting a Passion of the Christ too.
Christ Harder? Well, that's Mel Gibson.
Yeah, I have no idea where you're going to go with it, but there is a Passion.
Pretty good.
I thought they told the full story in the first one.
Market time to be Oh boy.
So I think we probably we had some technical difficulties, so we're probably way over where we usually are, which is fine. We had a lot to talk about this week, and that's fun.
This week's assignments to do still.
Yes. So what you're doing?
I'm giving
a TV show this week, and I'm doing a game.
Yeah, this is why it works, I think, because this is why the system will work, because I don't want anyone to think, well, Ritual of the Night was my assignment and now I got X amount through it and I'm just going to give up on it. No, I'm going to finish it during this next week before I get a new game assigned to me, and I'll also watch whatever Wyatt assigns to me. And just on the other end, it gives us a little room to breathe on the gaming front, I believe, to make sure everything gets a fair shake in the end.
And to go off that, exactly what you just said, you had assigned me Bastion a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I have been playing that in my free time, and I think I'm at like the final mission. I'm still super pumped that I never knew about this game, and that you told me I had to play it because I believe I'm at the final mission. I've unlocked all the weapons. I basically have built up to like, now we're gonna go to the final battle, and I'm like, oh man, this game is fantastic. So I do like the idea of us switching back and forth, because really it gives us 2 weeks to really have a game that you can kind of focus on until you have the So do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
I'll start. So
all right.
Yeah, I looked into your backlog here, or at least what I have access to.
Yeah, I still got to add a lot of stuff, but I gave you a good start.
Yeah, a few that jumped out at me. But I'm going to give you a really easy assignment this week, because I know you're still unpacking, so you got shit to do. you are going to be playing McPixel 3, which is awesome because I think the only reason it's on your backlog is I told you to try it. And obviously you haven't, so now I'm going to force you to.
I will, like you told me with Bloodstained, I believe I've played like 5 minutes of it, but not enough to really like it. I'm looking at it on we use. It's called GG. There's an app, and it also the website ggapp.io. We could probably link it either in our socials or maybe even in the episode description if anyone wants to see what we have in our backlogs.
Yeah, website's coming. I promise.
Yeah.
We'll have links working soon.
Yeah, and the idea, and I believe Nick and I had talked about this, is eventually down the road, like we would like your input. What, assign one of us a movie, assign one of us a game, and we'd like to, either give you guys the opportunity to have us try things that you enjoy, or, just see what we think about some of the things that, you could, I guess you technically could assign us something that you've tried. You're like, this sucked. I want to see if you also think it sucks.
Yeah. Or just want to be mean. That could be fine too.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine, 'cause I think sometimes bad media also needs to be consumed. So,
yeah, well, those is definitely true. But McPixel 3, I'm not familiar with McPixel 1 or 2. They may have existed. I randomly found this game on Game Pass and played through the entire thing. This could easily be a one-sitting game if you wanted it to be, or it could be several.
So what kind of a game is it? It looks like a point and click when I'm looking at the screenshots here.
It's a point and click adventure.
Okay.
But everything is single screen contained for the most part. So each new environment screen is basically a new level in the game, and it all comes kind of very quick. And I have very fond memories of being very, very young. I think it was when PC CD-ROMs first came out and playing like Richard Scarry point and click kind of games. And just like, let's see what happens if I click on the toaster, and this hilarious thing happens when I click on it. And so it's taking that, but applying it basically to adult humor and sensibilities and stuff, and borrowing a lot of stuff from Knight's Quest and those older games. But it's all very humor based, and there's a lot of themes that run through it. Like you have to find his best friend Steve, where he's hidden in every level. And you find him and it goes, Steve! It's just one of those games that'll make you smile. But there are some clever puzzles to it as well. Very, very at your own pace. You can play it on the couch and just kind of dip in and dip out where you feel fun. You can do it for 3 hours or 5 minutes. I don't think it's a very long game by my recollection. It might be 4 hours or something like that. So light work you have for the next 2 weeks, but I think it's one you'll definitely enjoy. So it's been a minute since I've touched it, so maybe you'll be able to remember a bunch of stuff that you played that you really liked about it that I've forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. It looks. Have you not? I'm looking at a couple of the screenshots. And it reminds me of another game that I played, but I based on what you've described it as, it's not exactly the same. But have you played Curse of the Golden Idol?
No, don't know that one.
All right. Well, I think it's on. As I say, I think it's on Game Pass, so it can technically be a backlog game, maybe, or it's something down the road. But if you enjoyed this, and if this is as you described it, I think you would enjoy. There's a Curse of the Golden Idol, and I think a new one recently came out called Return of the Golden Idol, maybe. Okay. No, sorry, I think it's the Case of the Golden Idol, not the Curse of the Golden Idol. The Case of the Golden Idol, and I think it's Return of the Golden Idol. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That could be for a future Wyatt Asks Nick to do something.
Yeah. Put that in the log.
Yeah, and to kind of go back off what we're talking about. So when it comes to our TV/movie show recommendations, this is more of a I have seen it, I think you would like it. Whereas the game backlogs, the idea basically is I have played this game and it's in your backlog because it's we both have lots of media that we've consumed or that we have access to. So when it goes to being a backlog of that, it's a little harder to, at least for me, it's a little harder to do that.
It's a little fuzzier than it used to be because we used to have the same shit on your shelves kind of thing, but now everybody could have a backlog because everybody has Netflix, and Bill and King of the Hill finished Netflix, and they send a wellness check as a reward.
Yes,
Netflix, I think he said. But I mean, in that sense, with Game Pass, Netflix, all that stuff, everybody has almost an infinite backlog kind of thing. So it's just like, hey, I loved this, you'd like it too, and I'm sure that will evolve over time because you and I are going to run through this stuff, in rapid succession over the weeks. But
and then we'll get our wellness checks from Netflix.
There you go.
So I think I remember I asked you about this offline, but have you seen the show Mystic Quest with Rob McElhenney,
No.
Danny Pudi? Okay.
No. I have access to it.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about it?
I know that it's about them running some sort of game dev studio, what have you. That's really all I know.
Okay, yeah. It's a show that I think Charlie Day and Rob McElhenney created. Obviously, both of them of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame. It's not a spin-off, but it was a show that they created for Apple TV. It got canceled last year, which bummed a lot of people out. Apple has this tendency to, it's kind of going contradicting to, what I said about other media, but Apple TV has a tendency to give shows like 3 to 4 seasons, and then no matter where they are, they just go, you know what? All right, cool. We're done. We're moving on to the next thing.
On to the next. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mythic Quest, I believe, and there's either 4 or 5 seasons. I can't remember off the top of my head.
At least they let it breathe a little bit. There's countless Netflix shows that it's been killed after a season because they never got the chance to find an audience.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the thing with Mythic Quest, at least, they didn't know. Like sometimes, studios will tell, writers, creators, or whatever, hey, this will probably be, we might not be renewing this, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But Mystic Quest was always a pretty popular show for Apple. And it got pretty dang good reviews. But so they had the end of their last season, which was either 4 or 5. I want to say it was 4. And it ended on, like an end of season cliffhanger type thing where, okay, we'll pick it up on season 5 and we'll go blah, 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 blah. And so they filmed it, came out. And then Apple was like, you know what? We're done with this. We're canceling you guys. But the nice thing that they did, and the reason why I bring this up, is they let them refilm the final episode of season 4, season 5, whatever. They let them refilm the final episode and let it have an ending.
Give themselves a proper send-off kind of thing.
Yes, which I greatly appreciate, being able to do that. Because like I said, I like an open-ended story. I just don't like, just cliffhangers that get canceled and then, who knows, anything could have happened.
Yeah.
Not a planned cliffhanger. Like, like I said, with Squid Game, it ended and it was like, the character could be going back for vengeance or he could go back, and just live his new life of, whatever he did. So it's a super, super funny show. I watched it when it first came out. I watched the first season when it first came out and then kind of fell off it and then came back to it the last year or so. I started watching it, and as I was watching it, I was like, oh man, like I think Nick would enjoy this. So
there's nothing that I've ever said I don't want to watch that, but
just something that doesn't pop up.
Never gotten to.
You had no reason to
say that Charlie's involved makes me want to watch it more because I love Mac. I guess his full name is just Rob Mack now.
Yeah, he changed his name to Rob Mack because no one could pronounce his last name, and it was really starting to bother him.
I like Rob Mack just fine. I think he works better as an ensemble piece, and a lot of the great stuff in Sunny comes from the side of Charlie Day, be it the musical stuff or just some of the more off-kilter writing. So him having a creative hand in that makes me actually want to watch it more. Not that I didn't before, so I'm excited now.
Yeah, let me see. I don't. I was gonna say he does play. He has a bit role, I think, in an episode. But yeah, it's mostly just his, mind in the back of creating and executive producing. But there's a Danny Pudi from Community, Abed. He
another show I've never actually watched.
Oh man, I add that to this. I'm trying to.
How about? I have plenty of stuff for you to assign me. Don't worry.
Have you seen the video that I have posted on social media a few times that always cracks me up laughing, where Danny Pudi is the guy who did an interview with Larry King where...
Oh, yeah, Socks.
Yes.
Socks and DuckTales. Yeah,
yes.
I know who he is, yeah.
Okay,
That's an all-timer right there.
That's one of my favorite, what is one of your favorite luxuries? He's like, a pair of nice socks. He's like, well, that's not a luxury. He's like, well, then tell me what a luxury is. Like a private plane. Danny, or sorry,
Larry,
like,
I'm on DuckTales.
I'm on DuckTales. But yeah, so you could probably, if you watch, I think each season is 10 episodes. I don't expect you to get through a whole season, but even like 3, I'd say if you can get through 3 episodes, that gives you an idea of the the characters and their development and stuff.
Half-hour show, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can churn through a bunch of those. I mean, I won't say that I'll watch it without my full attention, but once I get the idea, I could probably I could sneak a couple through while doing work during the day, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You watched, I believe you have, Welcome to Wrexham, the documentary.
The whole series. Yeah.
So Humphrey Kerr, obviously the big tall dude that's in Welcome to Wrexham. He has a bit role in the show later too, which I watched Welcome to Wrexham before I started watching this, so I was kind of like, oh, cool, there's Humphrey.
Oh, that's neat. So that's kind of like the scene of 1,000 Deadpools where they brought a bunch of people in for that, and they had
pretty much
Welsh pool and all that stuff.
Yeah. Who was Paul Mullen. Yeah. So I think that brings us to about 4.5 hours for this episode between cuts and issues, and then us just talking. But
my peeing and your loss of internet.
Yeah, which was great. As you informed me that you seem to lose internet almost at 10 o'clock every day with Comcast.
Only for the first 6 months of service. And then we got trucks out here and it seems okay since. So maybe, I don't know, get somebody on the horn. I have older neighbors that were probably bitching up a storm. So maybe you're a little more remote than I am.
Yeah, we'll see. As I've said, the internet here has been my least favorite thing about this move. A lot of great things about the move out here into the middle of nowhere, but losing my dedicated fiber line has been super first world problem, hard to swallow. But so next week we will talk about Mystic Quest, and I will talk about McPixel 3. If you guys want to follow us on social media, I've talked so much that apparently I'm starting to slur my words. We can be found on Blue Sky. We don't have it yet. .bluesky.social, or you can hit us up.
Puffing paint in the background.
I mean,
off mic, you don't see it.
I basically am Charlie Day, as many people have told me. So you can reach us on Blue Sky, or if you want to hit us up by email, we don't have it yet at gmail.com. Nick is in the process of standing us up a proper website as the great producer of this podcast he is. So hopefully in the next week or 2 months, couple years, we'll have a website.
All right, we have the domain, we own the domain, and there is a site behind it right now. It's just a bit of a blank slate that Nick needs to remember how to write HTML or find something better for web page creation on the fly. But no, I'll get to it one night this week. I swear to God.
I'm just giving you crap. It's what we do. But yeah, I appreciate everyone joining us again this week, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode. And we will talk at you again next week.
See you next week, peeps.
Bye-bye.
Bye.